Okay, now for making the first map. So, first thing I want to do is I'm going to have the one unit. I can switch to unit mode, and I want to make this a headquarters. So, let's see here. We have database and then players. So we are going to call this headquarters. I know he's a unit right now, but do we have anything that looks like it could be a building? Not really. I thought there would be something. Well, looks like we're gonna make it a golem. So our headquarters is gonna look like a golem. Um, we're gonna make the class. I guess he's a lord. I guess we're gonna make our own custom class. So this is going to be called headquarters. We're going to change the sprite icon. I don't really care about this part. What if I hit original? This is what I wanted. I want it to be multiple things. It doesn't really matter because I am getting rid of the the part that uses those animations. Okay. I want to change this sprite. We're going to make it the golem if we could find it. Right there. Our headquarters is going to look like that guy. Later I will show you how you can make custom assets. But right now we're going to stick with this. We are not using weapons in this game, so they can use whatever, or I could just turn it off. No sword. Doesn't need skills. Description. This is the building where you command your army. I don't think you're actually going to command your army, but this is where you're going to make all your units where you build. You use your headquarters to tell your basically your economy, where to spend your money. Don't need a race, don't need any of that stuff. That's fine. Parameter bonus, growth bonus. Don't think I need any of those. Let's go back. We're going to make him now a headquarters. And since I made it custom, you're going to go to compound. It's a compound class. It just leaves you more options. We'll just make all of our levels 5. 20 hit points is perfectly fine. It doesn't need strength, it doesn't need magic, not skill, not speed. We'll have its defense as 5 and its resistance as 5. Movement is 0. Okay. Don't need any of these growth rates. Those are for leveling up. We are not going to be having leveling up in this game. Now, once again, if you're making Fire Emblem, this is your odds that when you level, one of these skills will go up. So if it has 40% chance, it'll roll a dice from 1 to 100. If you get 40, then you get the level up. If you get something other than that, higher than that, it probably would not give you that stat. Okay. So we have a headquarters. That is going to be technically our first building. Let's create another class. Create class. We'll call this. We're going to do another compound thing. Once again, it doesn't matter for this part. Actually, I'm going to delete that. I'm just going to copy and paste him. We're going to have our second building. We're going to call it a barracks. Allows for building swordsmen and archers. Okay, let's just create another icon. And we will make it what? A minotaur. That's like a barracks fighting kind of thing. Okay, it's going to be all the same stuff because we're pretending it's a building. Number 1 is headquarters. Number 2 will be barracks. But we're going to make barracks reinforcements. We're going to create a new unit. This is going to be called barracks. Its class is going to be barracks. I'll give it an icon that looks like the Minotaur. I looked out there. And same thing. 0 strength, 0 skill, 0 speed. Just going to be 5 and 5 because it's a building and no movement. Get rid of a weapon. Actually, I think I want to make that a barracks. I'm going to make as an ally because I don't want it to be player controlled. So I have that as reinforcements. Reinforcements are actually going to be our units. They're not going to be something specific. I'm going to make it so you only build 1 barracks, 1 of each building. Okay. Okay. Now we can create one more class because we're just doing a very basic situation right here. And we're just going to call this a swordsman. Ugh, I gotta keep copying and pasting. We're going to call this a swordsman. Your basic fighter. I'm going to make it look like I'll make it look like that guy. Okay, so now we have a headquarters, we have a barracks, and a swordsman. That should be everything we need for the beginning of this. We don't want it as an ally, we want it as an event ally. I'm sorry about that. So we just cut and paste it in there. Our buildings will be event allies. So we have our headquarters is going to be our starting unit. And under players, we have our headquarters. It doesn't need a short sword. Don't need it to change classes. Everything else looks okay. Our headquarters, we're going to make it able to build a barracks. Maybe we'll create a worker unit to do that, but right now we're just going to have the headquarters do it. And then that barracks will allow the headquarters to build a swordsman at the barracks. So let's see if we can do all of that. Okay. So what I want to do is I am going to create some variables. Now, this gets a little bit more complicated. We are going to create some x and y variables. So we're going to create x1. It can default to 0. And then we're going to copy and paste this a bunch of times. So we're going to make x1, y1, x2, y2, and keep going. y4, x5, y5, x6, y6. Okay, that's enough for now. We're probably going to make a lot more of those though. Now, this was in tab 1. We're going to go to ID variable, and we're going to create 6 unit IDs. So we're going to call this unit ID 1. I like Roman numerals for this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now we have x and y variables, 6 sets, and we have unit ID variables, 6 sets. How are we going to use all these? Well, let's do a map test. Oh, that's our test unit. So for map information, our fixed unit is headquarters. I'm going to make sortie restriction to headquarters as well. That means that spot is restricted and will only spawn the headquarters. So if I do test play, if I do new game, I guess this is that other first map. We have our headquarters. You select it, it can't do anything. Doesn't even have items. So I didn't want that map to be the first starting one for now. We will make it the starting one. I want to go to configuration under database, configuration, initial information, and the initial map is we're going to set it to introduction. So now it's going to do that second map that I was starting on. It'll be this map. So now if I were to start the game, the headquarters is going to be starting at that location. Okay, which is what we want. And we want to start building a base. How are we going to do that? Well, at headquarters, we will make commands. So since that is our player unit, we're going to go to players, and then we're going to create our first event, unit event. For units, you have two main types of events. I guess there's injured as well, but you can have an event for whenever that unit dies, something will happen, or you can create a command. In this case, we will write build. Okay. So when you click on that unit, you will have the option to build something. So now, how do we get build to show up? Build is always going to show up. So down here, you could put restrictions on when will this event be available. So you can make it so this event is only available when you have 100 gold, or so on, or so forth. So I will enable gold, and only if your gold is 100. So this is only available when you have 100 gold. So we'll say 100 gold is basically the minimum that you can have. Everything will be in multiples of 100. Okay. So now up here is where you are actually going to have basically your triggers for your event. So I'm going to hit new. One of the first things I like to do is I like to change variables, and I like to set x1. We have variables. This shows where all your variables are. You can go to the different tabs, in this case ID variable, or set 1 where you have your x's and y's. I'm going to set x1 equal to a unit. In this case, it's going to be headquarters. And for headquarters, I'm going to get the property of its x coordinate. So I'm trying to record the location of the x. So x1 is set to the headquarters x. I'm going to copy and paste that and set y1 to the headquarters y. And I'm also going to do the same thing for its ID variable. Now you might be wondering what an ID variable is. And I'll explain that in a second. Unit ID. So in this case, I'm going to headquarters, and I want its unit ID number, and I will store that as the variable unit ID 1. Okay. Oh wait, why isn't this? Can I hit enter? There we go. Okay, so it's sort of cut off here, but headquarters right here, you'll see there's a cutoff 0 right here. So this has the unit ID of 0 for players. So when it's setting the x1 and the y1 and the unit ID 1 of headquarters, it is storing certain numbers as variables. So let me show you. I want to go to game layout, command layout, and there's title, battle prep, map commands. I want to make it so you can see switches and variables, and we're going to set that as always display data and always display data. This is just for now. So now if I were to open up the map, I'm going to say fight. If you click on this unit, wait, why isn't it? Oh, we haven't set gold yet. We restricted it to have gold. So now I want to go back to database and start us with gold. So configuration and introductory information, or initial information. I'm going to set initial gold to 100. Therefore, we should meet the requirement of that command. back to test play, or I guess it's just regular play. New game. We're gonna fight. Now if I click on this guy, he has the build option. And if I click build, all it did was store his X, store his Y, and store his unit ID. How do we know that? We can go in, we can click, and now check variables. So it's saying his X1 and his Y1 are both 2. So this generally starts at 0, so 1, 2 would be your Y, and 1, 2 would be your X, and that is where he is located. And now that's for X and Y, and go all the way over to unit ID. Well, I guess unit ID is stored as 0 because we said it was 0 before. But if you have a different number for your unit ID, it would have stored it as 1. Okay? That's how the game knows what unit you're talking about sometimes. So now let's see if we can make his command build a unit. Oops, I did not want to create a unit, I want to cancel. Okay, we're going to go back to database and players. Now we have this unit. We're going to go back to unit events and build. So first it's going to store this information. It's just a common thing I like to do. Next, we're going to create a new command, and the one we want is going to be under the battle tab. We're going to go to unit appearance, and in this case we are going to unit appearance, move unit affiliation. Why isn't it showing reinforcements? A little confused by that. I must be missing something. Let me just save this. Oh, because he's a player. That's a player command. Well, I'm figuring this out as I go. So I might have to do a workaround and not make it a unit event. So let me delete this. Sorry about all that. But you got the basic gist of making that. So let's do a place event because we need something tied specifically to this map. So we're going to use a different type of event. We're going to go to event mode, and we're going to put an event right on top of the headquarters. So you just double click. We're going to do a custom event. I'm going to cancel. I'm going to go to configure, command strings, and I'm going to make a new one here, which is going to be build. Okay. Now this is going to be a more complicated way than I was hoping, but it should still work. So we're going to make it so the headquarters can't move, and since it's doing that, we're going to put a place event specific to this map right under it. And now we're going to custom, and since I just created that other command that was build, I now have the option here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make it so your gold has to be at least 100 for it to show up. Okay. And condition, we're not going to make it so it has to equal it. We're going to say it's 100 or more. So you at least have 100 gold for this to show up. So once again, we will change variables real fast. X1 is set to unit headquarters in X. Y1 is set to headquarters Y. And then unit ID 1 is set to headquarters unit ID. I just like to do that every single time for commands for units. And then I usually set ID 1 to whatever unit is doing an action. ID 2 is to whatever unit is receiving the action. And then if there's more area effector, I add the other unit IDs. But so right now we just established where we're starting from, the starting location. Now we have to find the ending location. So once we click build, where do we want to build our barracks? So the next thing we are going to do is go into battle, and then we're going to have extract map position. Okay, so we don't want it to be, right now we're trying to figure out where do we select, like what is capable of being selected, and we don't want to make it only units. We want to make it so we could select terrain tiles. So now start and range, we're going to be able to select our spot starting from our headquarters, and we're going to say within 5 spaces of our headquarters is where we're going to be able to build our barracks. Okay, that looks okay. And we don't want to be able to select a player, an enemy, or an ally. We just want it to be terrain. So when we select a spot, we're going to store that spot's information as location 2. That's what I meant by the acted upon situation. So we got X2, Y2, and unit ID 2. And then when we cancel the action, we're going to say that if you cancel the action, you have activated self switch B. B will be our canceling trigger. Show unit window? I don't know. Show message when selected. Okay. So right now we hit build. It's going to ask us for a location within 5 spaces. And when we select that location, it's going to store X2, Y2, and unit ID 2. So then we're going to have a unit appearance. And this time, instead of just being able to select players, we are able to select event allies, which is going to allow us to place the barracks. And we're going to set the barracks to appear at a variable x2 and y2. one other thing I want to have is that in order for this to work, that barracks, I'm going to set the unit, add event allies barracks, life condition. I want to say is not alive. Am I able to do not alive? Not sure if I'm able to do that. Well, we won't worry about that right now. So we just want to see if we can make the barracks. Okay, so we're going to fight. We have our headquarters. Why can't I do the build? What did I do wrong? 100 gold or more. Which we should have 100 gold. I may have just hit map test instead of... Huh. Why isn't that working? It says we have 100 gold. What do I do now? That is weird. Oh. I don't know why it didn't show this. Okay, let's just see if we can build the barracks. Okay, we can build. And now I have to select the area to build. And I just built the barracks. Okay. And we're going to call that. So I'll leave it as build. Now, instead of build the barracks, we are going to add choices. So we're going to add choice 1, which is gold. Something else I gotta do first. I'm going to create a variable for the gold. We'll do this type of variable in the second section. We're going to call this gold. And I'm going to do an auto event. auto event. We're going to create and rename it. We're going to call this turn gold. So we want to record how much gold you have at the beginning of your turn. And we're going to make this enable at the start of player phase. Okay, and we're going to hit new, change variable, set gold. I wonder if we can set it to the actual gold amount. Yep, there we go. System gold. So now, at the start of player phase, we should set gold, the gold variable, to whatever our gold is. And one more thing we gotta do to that event is we gotta go to battle and change event state. And we're going to turn gold to, you can either do it executed or free. Free means that this event will be able to happen again, and executed means it'll only happen that one time, or it won't be able to happen again. So let's see. So where was I? We want to do choices, gold. Now when I have gold, I want it to say how much gold we actually have. So it has to call a variable. And there's a certain command for how you do that. There we go, okay. Now we'll check my other game to see how I did that previously. So if you want to call a variable in a message like that, you do it by doing a /VA, and then you have a 5 and a 3, and I will show you what that means. /VA. So here, /VA, and I believe it's going to be 2 bracket 1. So when I am trying to call that variable, I'm trying to call the second tab and then variable, the unit ID. I said 1, but this is actually 0, so I'm going to change that. So the first choice will be the gold. I'm going to add a, and its switch is A. I'm going to add a second choice, which its self switch will be B. And this choice will be train swordsman. Okay. I might. I'm wondering if that's going to interfere with the other self switch B. So I'm going to make that C. I'm going to add cancel. move that up? No. I want to switch these. This is going to be B. This one's going to be cancel. I'll make this one train swordsman. Okay, so those are our 3 options. Now, if you remember, this one self switch was B. Now I'm going to add an event. Oops, that's edit. Want new. We're going to go change, not change event state. Maybe it was change event state. How do I do it? I want to end. Skip event, that's what I wanted to do. Skip current event. Or end current event. But I need, for that to happen, I only want that to happen if we have the self switch B enabled by canceling that. So I want to do the same things here. Oh, instead of trained swordsman, I want that to be build barracks. Later we'll do trained swordsman. So really what this should do is find our starting location, then we're going to choose a second location for where we want to build the barracks. If we cancel out of that selection, it'll bring us to end current event, and then we're done. We just canceled. Then if we didn't cancel and we selected a location, it's going to bring up 3 choices. Number 1, it'll show us the gold. So if we have A, well, we're not going to worry about A yet. B is also going to end the current event. And then C, I don't want that to be B. I want that to be C. C is going to spawn the barracks. And, wait, didn't I hit C? I probably forgot to hit this. So C will spawn the barracks. And we also want to make this probably end current event after that. And make that a C as well. I don't think you need to do this one, but we're just going to do it anyway. And also subtract gold. Decrease gold 100. We're going to make that for C as well. Now let's see how this works. This is obviously a work in progress. I had no idea how I was going to build this. And let's see if it works. I'm going to fight. So we're going to build a barracks right there. That obviously didn't work. Not sure why, but I will figure it out. If we cancel, it cancels. Oh, and it ended the turn. So I have to figure out how to stop that. And now it won't do that. Did I lose my money? I still have the 100. Oh, I know why that didn't let me do it again. I also have to set it to free. So we're going to go back to battle, change event state. The place event, we're going to set to free. That location that we're on, because this is a place event, so we want it to happen, be able to happen more than once. So let's see if we can actually build that barracks with the choices now. Build barracks. Just lost 100 gold, but we built the barracks. Now, we can only have one place event. Do we have a way around this? Well, when we go to build, we can create another option. Build swordsman. And this, we can make it so this only displays if our barracks is alive. Okay. And that is self switch D. So I'm going to kind of just copy and paste that, change this to a D. Change this to a D. Change this to a D. Now also I want to make that choice only available if we have 200 gold. It's 200 or more. Okay. So I want to set our initial information to 300. So we have enough to do both. So let's see if we can do both. So I can build. I'll have to fix that because I just want that to display what gold we have. We can cancel. That's still end of the turn. I gotta figure out what to do with that. But why is I'm gonna have to figure out why it's ending this guy's turn. I know I could fix it. I've done it before, but let's just go back. My guess would be is that by ending it there, we never get back to setting it free. But I'm not going gonna worry about that right now. I just want to see if I can make it so we build a building, like such as a barracks, and then that allows us to build a swordsman. Everything else is a little bit more technical, but so have our building. Headquarters, it allows us to build. We are going to build our barracks. We lose the 100 gold. End turn. Now that we have our barracks, can we build again? No, we cannot. So I'm going to do one more thing in here. I'm going to change let's throw that there, and throw that there. And let's see if that fixed it. Because we're trying to set it free before we end our event. So we are going to build our barracks. Hopefully that set the event free. Now that we have our barracks, we can build. And now we don't want it to do like this, but we can now build the swordsman. Oh, and I guess I just set it to that guy. We want to set it to our swordsman unit. So instead of building another barracks, that's kind of bugging out. We want to set our reinforcements. Didn't I make a swordsman? Thought I made a swordsman. Let's go back. Where did I make a swordsman? Oh well, we're gonna make a swordsman. Create unit, new unit. Not too worried about that part. Gonna make the class compound swordsman. There we go. Let's keep him as level 1. Get rid of the short sword. Go back in here. Change barracks to reinforcements. I guess I just have them called that. We'll keep him as a guest. And we are going to spawn him that's the headquarters. So we want to spawn him one space below the barracks. So first we have to call the barracks. So we'll call that X3. It's going to be the barracks X. This is going to be Y3. It's still going to be barracks, but we want Y. Y3 to be the barracks unit ID. And now here, we're just going to take unit ID, or Y3, and we're just going to add 1 to it, which should cause it to have the space below the barracks. And now we're going to spawn. That's unit ID. Oh, sorry, getting a little sleepy. Oh, this is going to be self-switch D. And we also want to spawn the unit. So we're going to copy this unit appearance. I didn't name him swordsman yet, but he's going to spawn at X3, Y3. Okay, and that should be D. So hopefully this works. I hope I thought it through all the way. So now we build our barracks. Oops, hit the wrong button. Build barracks. Lost 100 gold. We have a barracks. End turn. Next, build. We're going to build a swordsman. Yep, so I didn't need to select a spot, but since I had the barracks, I can build a swordsman. Now the swordsman can move around. So, that took a while, and there's still some bugs to it. So as you can see, game dev can take a little while. And I'm a bit sleepy. And this is probably not the best first tutorial. So, I might actually do some more simple tutorials before I get to this. But, I got it to work, to a certain extent. Gotta figure out why or how I can make it so he doesn't end his turn right there. But, that should be it for this video. I will probably put it further back in the series, but got it to work mostly. We'll come back. Okay, have a good night. I'm gonna go to sleep.